my Wolfpack, and welcome back to another episode of our Pokemon Competitive Guide video. So today we're covering Floatzel. Now Floatzel obviously is one of the fan favourite water type Pokemon. It has a really high speed at base 115, which is absolutely fantastic, outspeeds the vast majority of Mons. And it also has a attack stat of base 105, which is pretty darn big, especially for a physical water type. Now off the top of my head, I can't think of too many other good, solid, physical water type Mons that don't have to set up in order to be able to cause havoc. So honestly, Floatzel is a really cool Mon. Its defenses do let it down a little bit, but the fact that it's fast and it's got a high stat means that it doesn't have to set up, and that it can actually just come straight in and just start to cause problems to the opponent's team, especially, for example, as a late game sweeper. So I've got 4 sets here today. First set I've got is a choice band set. Now this is probably one of the most common ways that Floatzel will be run. Possibly with a choice scarf instead of a choice band, but I think most commonly would be a choice band. You've got Aqua Jet. This is just in case there is a Pokemon that is faster than you, or you just need that tiny bit of chip damage, you don't want to risk it. Aqua Jet priority obviously allows for the water type damage to increase with the stab. You've got Waterfall there, which is powerful water type attack boosted by stab. Crunch is Waterfall's there mostly because of the alternative water type attacks. You don't have to use Aqua Jet. Crunch is just for coverage, and then Brick Break, breaking things like Reflect and Light Screen, but also just doing damage as well. I put Swift Swim as the ability on this. Now there are 2 abilities that Floatzel has, and both of them can be pretty good. So Swift Swim, because this works really well on a rain team for the Choice Band variant. If you're going for the Choice Scarf variant, you definitely want to go for Water Veil, which means that if it gets burned, it can't get burned, essentially. So it doesn't get burned. So you're not going to have to worry about the diminishment of your attack stat. So Water Veil is still very good to run on a Choice Band Floatzel, but I was just thinking in this scenario you could run it in a rain team. Obviously you don't have to, you can run it with the Water Veil. Water Veil is a fantastic ability on Floatzel, meaning it is obviously not going to get burned, not going to take that massive hit to the attack stat. EV wise, I went for max attack and max speed. I went for an adamant nature, some more attack, less special attack, and 4 EVs and special defense, mostly because when your Swift Swim activates, you're going to be up to 658, I think that is, which means you're going to outspeed basically everything. Even a lot of Pokemon that are Choice Scarf will not outspeed that. In fact, I don't think any Pokemon in the game will outspeed it without having set up. So that's really fantastic. Obviously, if you're going for more the Water Veil idea, you might want to go for the plus speed nature to increase up your speed a little bit more. But it depends on personally what you're going for. Obviously, you can tweak these sets as they fit into your teams. Moving on to the second Floatzel, we have got a Bulk Up variant. So Bulk Up allows us to get an increase in our attack and our defense, which can be really helpful. Obviously giving us more damage output. Leftovers on there for recovery, because you are going to take hits with this thing, but the idea would be to take maybe 2 or 3 bulk ups. Ability, you do not want Swift Swim. You want Water Veil, 100%. I just didn't change it. Water Veil, so you don't get burned. Bulking up, let's say that you get 2 free bulk ups there. That takes your attack up to like base 600 and something. You have 2 priority attacks to choose from. That will cause havoc on the vast majority of Pokemon. So Quick Attack, Aqua Jet as alternative options there for you to cover basically any Mon that you might need to cover. You've got Taunt there as well to stop Pokemon from sitting up on you. For example, if it's a special sweeper trying to set up on you, that's going to be problematic. If it's a Iron Defense set, for example, that's going to be problematic for you as well. So obviously Quick Attack and Aqua Jet aren't requirements on this set. You can just use any attacks, but I thought the priority attacks work quite nicely in combination with a bulky set, because that allows you to get the best of both worlds, whilst albeit getting less power output. EV wise, max HP, max attack, adamant nature, more attack, less special attack, and 4 EVs in special defense. I don't think I need to explain that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory there. Moving on to the third Floatzel, I have gone for a choice spec set. Now this is something that people probably would not expect to see as often. Swift Swim is the best option here. It's really good to run in a rain team because it increases the power of the Hydro Pump and the Surf here. But Water Veil does not matter whatsoever, other than getting rid of some passive damage going in there. But realistically, if I'm going to be status at all as a special sweeper, I only want to be status as a burn, because paralysis causes more problems, and so does poison. And sleep is just irritating. So Hydro Pump, powerful water type attack boosted by stab. Obviously it's extra powerful, but it does have an accuracy check on it, which obviously means that it does have the chance to miss. Ice Beam, powerful ice type attack, covers things like grass types, which are your weakness. You've got Surf there as an alternative to the Hydro Pump, but a better accuracy. Obviously, it has quite a lot of power. And finally, Switcheroo. If you want to get rid of those choice specs and chuck them onto something that is not going to like them, then that can work really, really well for you. So, for example, anything like Star Raptor, Luxray, Garchomp even, chucking the choice specs on them is not going to make them feel very good, and you could get a better item in return, but obviously your attack power will be diminished a little bit. But Switcheroo, really, really solid option there. Swift Swim is your best ability, best to run this in a rain team. It will just work really well together. EVs, obviously you've got base 85 special attack, which is a little bit low, but obviously with the max investment there, it does allow you to get some power output out of it, and then max speed as well. I would definitely recommend going for the modest rather than the timid here, because you've got your Swift Swim, which allows you to double your speed, and that's where my recommendations are. If you obviously don't want to go for Swift Swim, then that's perfectly fine, but you can go for like the max special attack, max speed, and you can choose between timid and modest. It's up to you what you decide to go for there. And then the fourth set, this is a quirky supportive set, and only works in certain places, because in some places this kind of set would be illegal, but you've got agility, allowing you to double your speed straight off, so 361 to 722, which is super, super fast. Bulk Up allows you to get a +1 in your attack and a +1 in your defense, which is really, really handy. Scold to allow you to burn Pokemon. Now, I know that sounds very, very counterintuitive, but the whole point of this thing is to allow you to set up. If you can burn a Pokemon, then you're going to obviously face less damage, and that allows you to set up even more. So you're ideally doing this for a slow physical sweeper that might be a bit more of a glass cannon. So I'm trying to think of a slow physical sweeper off the top of my head. Things like Torterra, for example. You could get an agility up, you could get a bulk up, you can then baton pass that into the Torterra, and that would allow you to obviously be faster than a lot of other Mongs and have a little bit more of a power output, even if you use, for example, like Choice Banded or even Choice Scarfed. That will then cause a ton of damage to that Pokemon. So that's the whole point of this set, allowing you to be able to increase up your power for another Pokemon. So increasing up your stats for another Pokemon to do that damage. Scold is there to get the burn, get a little bit of passive damage off. Obviously, if you want to run something like Waterfall instead, you definitely can. It's entirely up to you. I'm not going to say no because it's your set. But this is just an interesting set that I came up with. The reason White Herbs here, and I know that's a very interesting item to put in there. You can put things like leftovers or any sort of berries on it if you want to. But White Herb, my thought process was, I'm setting up my physical attack, and there are a lot of Intimidate users in the game. So you've got things like Tauros, you've got things like Staraptor, Luxray, Gyarados. Lots and lots of Intimidate users that can put a lot of pressure onto you. So I thought the White Herb there stops the Intimidate problems from happening, especially when they see that you're starting to set up using Bulk Up. I put Water Veil here, doesn't really necessarily need it. Both abilities are kind of a bit naff with this set, but I think this is really interesting. It's obviously not going to get you any kills, but it could get another Pokemon a load of kills, which would be really fantastic. EV-wise, max HP, max speed with a timid or jolly nature really does not matter. You've got the plus speed there, just so you're as fast as possible, and then 4 EVs and special defense. Obviously, if you're going for the physical attack and you're just designing this as a setup sweeper, you're going with like leftovers or like a Rindo Berry or Wakan Berry, whatever you want to go for, you could always go for the max speed, max attack. If you want to, up to you entirely what you decide to go for. You can take the baton pass off and put on an alternative attack like Crunch, for example, because that gets good coverage. Anyways, that is going to be all for today, so I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, please do like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Anyways, I'm going to be out of here, so hope you have a good one, and I'll see you soon.